You want me to tell you, don't you? You want to know why they sent me here. I don't want to come. I don't want to talk to you. But I suppose it'd be pointless to sit here in silence for the next 45 minutes. And who knows, maybe you could actually help me. Fine, I'll tell you, but you have to let me talk, and you have to at least pretend to believe me while I talk. Deal? Okay. I used to be a scarecrow. I know I did. People say I'm crazy, but I know it's true. I don't tell many people, and I'm only telling you now because I have to. But I'm not lying to you, and you can shake your head and roll your eyes as much as you want. I've seen all that before, and it doesn't change the fact that it's true. In fact, it doesn't really bother me what you think, because it wasn't my idea to come and ask for your help in the first place. I don't need help. At least not like this. I have birds follow me. Birds that I recognise, like as if they were people. Birds that I know the names of that nobody ever taught me. Crows and wood pigeons and wrens and dunnocks and finches and house sparrows and blackbirds and honey buzzards and great spotted woodpeckers and starlings and all sorts. I could go on. I know them as though they were my family. Each bird with its own personality, its own precise reason for taking a strong disliking to me. And they all want revenge on me for things I can barely remember doing. Pecking at me, whistling for me, chirping all passive-aggressive and whiny singing every morning. They're relentless and cruel, and I'm trying to live life like a normal person. I really am. But some things you just can't ignore. Like the other day I was out with my friend Jessie. She wanted to go walking in the countryside. I knew that was a bad idea because of all the wildlife out there. But I promised my mum I'd get out more and do things that scared me. No, she wants me to pretend that I'm not the way I am, and I'm not going to do that. But to keep her happy, I said I'd spend more time outside in the fresh air. And honestly, I want to go out in the open air. And if I thought I wasn't going to be harassed, I would do. I don't want to have agoraphobia on top of everything else that's supposedly wrong with me. So as I was saying, before I got sidetracked with my mum and all that, I went to the countryside with Jessie. I made sure that we went by train so that none of the birds could follow alongside us. Trains go much quicker than cars, so it's hard for them to keep up, you see. It's a little trick I learned. Once we arrived, we started hiking. Jessie doesn't know about the Scarecrow thing, and I like it that way. I keep it to myself because I don't like the way people react, okay? I've lost too many friends that way, and those that have stayed out of pity. I'm sure that telling would only make things worse. Anyway, what was fine at first. We laughed and talked and just hung out. Didn't think about it at all, really. The sun was out and shining. The fields were huge and luscious and green. It seemed like a perfect day. And I saw someone I recognised in the distance. We were quite far in the distance, so I shouldn't have been able to make out any of the features, and I couldn't, but something told me that I knew this person. I didn't say anything to Jessie because after all it was just a hunch, and if we got closer maybe I'd say hello to them. At that moment I just didn't mention it, so we carried on walking. Jessie was telling me about her partner's new job and all the little things that were happening in her life. It was nice to be spoken at without being judged. It was nice to have someone tell me all the small details about their life and trust me with them so I'm not crazy, and I'm not. It was a nice time, really. We followed the path through the cornfield, and I noticed that whoever it was I saw before wasn't sticking to the path like we were. In fact, I don't think they'd moved at all, honestly. Just stood out there in the field with arms outstretched and smiling. As we got closer, I spotted their unmistakable straw hat and plaid shirt. It was a Scarecrow. Someone like me. something inside of me clicked, as though I'd known them my whole life without even uttering a word to them. I guess I must have known them in a past life or something. I didn't want Jessie to notice anything, but I also didn't want to pretend that it wasn't happening. I didn't want to just walk on by and ignore them. They might not have recognised me, but I didn't want to be rude. I decided just to tip my hat to them politely. A small gesture, just in case. I don't think Jessie saw me tip my hat, but she noticed I'd stopped paying attention to her and she stopped talking. I didn't want her to stop talking. I didn't want her to notice at all. I didn't want her to ask about it. I just wanted to carry on. But she looked at me and said those patronising words I hate to hear. Are you okay? I don't know why people ask me that all the time. I wasn't upset or angry or worried or anything. And there she was, asking me if I was okay, despite me being completely fine. Asking me as though it was something terribly, terribly wrong. I took a deep breath and said, yeah, fine. She looked at me slightly confused and asked if we should get the picnic out. I didn't want to get the picnic out, not in the same field as a Scarecrow I used to know. It'd be so awkward, like a strange reunion dinner. Not knowing if they're making eye contact with me or watching me eat or whether they even remember me. So I said, no, not in this field. We kept walking. But from that point on, we both felt on edge. I felt rude that my mind was so distracted. This was supposed to be my day out with Jessie, away from all that stuff. I knew the countryside was a bad idea. But I wanted to be true to my word. I wanted to make my mum happy, like I said, but the whole time I was... No. I don't want to do this. I know that you don't believe me. I can see it in your face I'm not stupid. But you can't change who I am, okay? You can't change that I still feel the straw beneath my shirt and it itches my skin every day. Or that without a hat on, my head feels as though it's coming undone. Like someone's removed my stitching and I'm weirdly exposed to everything. You can't change that all the way from the crown of my burlap skull to the bottom of my trouser legs, I still feel the sensation of a long wooden pole tightly fastened to my body. You won't change these things about me, no matter how hard you try. So if you're going to be any help to me or my family, you're going to have to accept me the way I am. I don't like being here. I'd rather go back to sitting in silence and being made a fool of.